Hi, I'm Krista Johnson. This is my horse Louie. We're going to demonstrate and kind of talk through how I get my horses to come to a stop when we're out on the training circle. I already have him out on a walk to the left. I'm walking my circle. He's walking his. He's got roughly 4 feet or more between my bubble and his sides here. If I stick my training stick out, his nose should be behind it. If I stick my stick out straight out from my shoulder, his tail's in front of it. So we're out on our circle already. We already broke down how to go out and around on the circle in another video. I'm going to focus on how to get him to come to a stop and yield his hindquarters in this video. So I'm going to keep my feet going. I don't have to switch hands, but for this sake, I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to put my stick handle in this hand, switch my rope here. I don't want him to do anything different just because I switched my hands just yet. He should be doing the same thing. He's looking at me for communication, which is great. He's asking questions. I'm going to see if I can get it from the camera angle here. I'm going to start to slow down my feet and lift my hand towards his croup and get him to come to a stop. I'm wanting him to step his right hind out and step the left hind under. When he comes to a stop, sometimes he gets it, sometimes he doesn't. But that's what I'm looking for. I'll go ahead and send him here going the other way. See if we can demonstrate it from this side. So we're out walking. Make sure he's out of my circle here. I'm just waving my stick up and down there, kind of towards the halter knot in his eye to get him to drift back out a little further out of my space. So I'm going to switch my stick and rope hand from where I started out. When we come around to where you can see on the camera, I'll slowly start to ask him. He's really light, so he's really responsive, so I got to be really slow here. I'm going to slowly slow my feet down and pull my hand up and point towards his croup and get him to come to a stop, and then come back into a parking position. I'll show that a couple more times. Good boy. There he kind of missed his turn on the haunches. That could have been better, but I'm not trying to just demonstrate that in this video. I'm going to switch my hands and slowly point up towards his croup. Let him come to a stop. There he was better about stepping under. And that's a little bit more what I was looking for. He started to crowd into my space a little bit, so I just kind of reminded him of this boundary between my belly button and his chest. But there's just a really basic breakdown of how I get my horses to stop on the circle. Now, if your horse doesn't yield to the rope yet and they don't understand that yet, that's where you're going to back it up with herding pressure. So I'll demonstrate that. He's going to follow the feel off the rope, so I might leave that part out just so you can see what I would do with the stick if he doesn't follow the rope. So I'm going to send him back out. And here maybe I won't switch my hands, but okay, so say I ask him to yield his hindquarters to come to a stop. He doesn't listen, he just keeps going. There I can take my stick, wave up and down towards his hip, slow my feet down. I'm going to shorten my rope more until he comes to a stop. If that didn't work, I could come on this offside and remind him of a boundary here. Which if you go back and watch my boundaries for riding communication, there's a good breakdown on where the 5 boundaries are that I use to communicate with horses in that particular video. I'll try to demonstrate again on this side. Okay, so say he doesn't listen to my rope. I'm going to slow my feet down to where my belly button and my feet are almost pointed at his hip there. I'm going to wave up and down his croup. I'm going to shorten my rope some more. Keep pointing at his croup. Slow my feet down. and he'll come to a stop. I'll demonstrate again. If he fails to follow the direction with all of those cues there, on what I might do. So I try my rope, he's not listening to that. I try my stick, he's not listening to that. What I can do then is come on this off side of his nose and close that boundary there. But he didn't yield his hindquarters there, but he did stop. When I first teach horses how to do all this, that's one I have to use. A lot of times I'll have to come on that off side to stop them. It doesn't matter if your stick's under your rope to do it. It doesn't matter if it's over the rope to do it. But once they learn that boundary's there, they'll stop and not run into it. I'm going to add a little bit of speed to this real quick. Say he gets a little bit out of control. It's a little out of control, going too fast. He's ignoring my rope. I can use my stick and string. Start pointing it towards his tail, stop my feet, and he'll stop. If you haven't done this with your horse before, most likely they're going to try to run faster. And that might be a whole nother training session in itself. And that's why it's really, really important to differentiate with your training stick communication. The difference between scooping means go forward. So if I want him to go forward, I'm going to scoop the hock and drive it forward. Scoop the hock, drive it forward. He knows the difference between that and then up and down. Laterally means yield that body part away. If she didn't respond immediately, I could shorten my rope, or I let my string down so I could touch his hip if I needed to. I didn't need to, but there's just a quick breakdown on how I get my horses to stop and do a hindquarter yield on the training circle. Thanks for joining us.